Hi, welcome to live stream yoga with Louise, tips and cues to keep you safe and strong on the mat. Today we are refining the body, honing and toning as we play. We'll begin high and make our way down. As always, play when you're comfortable, modify when you need to, rest when you need to. You ready? Let's hit the mat. We're going to set ourselves up, standing in the middle of the mat with more or less equal play on both sides. Heel toe all the way in, and then look down towards your feet and give me a small peel out into a little Pilates V. We're going to start with our arms relaxed at our side. Find that little 12 o'clock tilt. Keep your abs engaged. Look for that length in the lower back. We're going to begin playing with the arms. We're going to think of working an arc and frame, almost as if we were tracing around a big ball. Remember this movement? We're going to find a little step out to one side. You can think modified side lunge, and you're going to straighten and bend the leg that you've stepped out on. If you're on the tall side, you might need to readjust yourself on the mat if you've stepped off. Find your way back to the middle. You can either heel toe in or you can take a big step back in towards the middle. We're going to do the same to the second side, finding that bend and extend. Find your way back to the middle. We're going to find our step out on the first side, and this time we're going to try to lean into the thigh, find a little frame, and then straighten up and come back. Lean to frame. At this stage, we are resting the bottom forearm on the lead thigh. Last one, we're going to find our way back to the middle. Let's do the same on the second side. Find your rhythm. Start to play with that alternate bend and extend on the lead leg, that lean into the lead thigh, and that sweeping arc and frame with the back arm. Let's do one more, then we'll find our way back to the first side for the last time. And this time we're going to play with both arms, and we're going to think of mimicking that first arm movement that we played with. Last one, we're going to find our way back to the middle to repeat on the second side. Set up your frame, and when you're ready, start to play. Two more. Last one, we're going to find our way back to the middle in that little Pilates V. Arms could be relaxed at your side, or you can place them at your hip creases. We are going to step out one leg out to the side of the room. And then using your big toe, you're going to trace towards the midline, maybe squeezing slightly across it and back. Now do the same, but try to do it from a hovering foot position. Bring it back, shake it out. Let's do the same on the second side. Doing roughly 5 with your toe dragging on the floor. And then trying 5 from a hovering position. Now let's do the same, but let's work behind the hip line. Five with the toe on the floor, and then 5 from a hovering position. Give it a little shake up. Then repeat on the second side. Find your way back to your little Pilates V and let's start to play. You're going to give me one lift onto the heels, reground to bend, rinse and repeat. One lift, one bend. Last one. Come back to your first movement pattern, the first and the second, and we're going to combine them together. So you're going to begin foot out to the side. You're going to trace across the midline to the front, and then all the way behind you, and then you're going to start to move in a semicircular fashion for roughly 5 traces. And then you're going to try 5 from a hovering position. Find your way back to the midline, give yourself a little shake up. Let's repeat the same on the second side. Finding your drag pattern first. Then starting to work with a hover. Bring it back to the middle, shake it up. We're going to start to find our lift and our bend. Last one. Find your way back to your first frame. This time we are going to work from a hovering position and we're going to do 5 slow sets. So we're going to do a double pulse towards the midline and then a double pulse behind. Slow it down. Find your way back to the middle, shake it out. Let's rinse and repeat. Find your way back to the middle. We're going to heel lift and then reground to bend. Two more, then we're going to change our orientation on the mat and you are going to set yourself up towards the lower end of the mat so that you've got runway to play in front. And you're going to give me 3 parallel roll downs just to limber up through the spine and then we'll begin to play. Take a big breath in. On an exhale, load your chin to your chest, hollow out your belly, round out your back, peel down and then peel back up. Shoot for 3, limbering up through the back chain of the legs, finding your abs, limbering up through the spine. working with your breath. The next time you roll down, you're going to walk out into a plank. You're going to pause for a second in the plank, and then you're going to walk your way back. We're going to do that 3 times. We're going to hold the last plank. You can hold a 4-point kneel if you prefer. And then we're going to play with the right leg. You're going to lift and hold just at about hip height. And then we're going to tap to the mat 5 times, keeping the control line. Lift and hold. Reground, walk your hands back towards your legs, roll it up. 3 roll downs, just the roll downs. Finding that contraction to bleed down and then undoing it to bleed up. On the 3rd roll down, you're going to start your plank walkouts for 3. Add strong and engaged each time you find your way into the plank. We're going to hold our last plank and then we'll play with the left leg. Find your way into position. Lift the left leg, hold it at about hip height. That's your control line. Tap to the mat 5 times. And in the lifted position, hold. Release back to plank and then drop down onto the knees, releasing the bridges of your feet. We're coming into some kneeling play. We are going to begin with a nice tall kneel, so shoulders, hips, and knees stacked in one long line. 12 o'clock tilt through the pelvis. Abs stay engaged. Lower back stays engaged. We're going to find that first arm movement that we play with. You can think of this as a revolving arc and frame, as if you were tracing the circumference of a big ball. Keep that 12 o'clock tilt as you play. Then relax the arms alongside the body. We're going to find the half camel step out. Let's do left side first. So we're going to find it and we're just going to lean away from the midline and back 10 times. Try to end in the lean, hold it. Come back to the middle, let's repeat on the second side. End in the lean, hold it. Come back to the middle. Let's find our step out position on the first side. This time, as we lean, we're going to try to drop down on the elbow and we're going to arc and frame on the opposite side. So we're working a little bit deeper. We're starting to open up a little bit more through the trunk. We're going to end in that lean with that frame. Hold it. Breathe into the open side of your ribs. Find your way back to the middle. Let's repeat on the second side. We're going to end in the lean. Hold it. Find your way back to the middle. Coming back to the first side, but this time we are going to play freestyle. We are going to arc and frame and come back. Arc and frame and come back. You could also play, you could use your start position at about shoulder height if you like, and you can alter the movement slightly. We're going to end in the lean with the arc and frame. Hold it. Find your way back to the middle. Let's change sides. We're going to end in the lean with that arc and frame. We're going to find our way onto the back, onto the side of the body. We are going to assume a low to the mat position, trying to stack the body in one long line. If you find yourself rolling forward, rather bring the toes just in front of the hip line. We are going to begin to play with the bottom leg. We're going to drag the big toe. We're going to kick up towards the sky, and then we're going to drop. Drag to kick and drop, keeping belly to spine. One more. We're going to end hovering over the bottom leg. We're going to hot potato tap one to the front, one to the back, doing a little jump over the grounding leg. Come back to your midway point. Use a zippering up action to the lower abs to pull the knee up and to release back to neutral. End in the bend, and then hinge from the hip, not the knee. You're going to find your way back to your control line, which is hovering over the bottom leg. And then using your glute, you're going to give me a squeeze behind the hip line and back, keeping that bend. You're going to end in the open position, and you're going to give me little glutes and knee pulses. Then roll onto your back, reposition yourself in the middle of the mat. We're coming into a hollow hold, but today we're going to play with the arms. And for the first one, we're going to find a soft but active press into the palms. You're beginning in neutral. There's a big Swiss ball tethered to the ceiling by a piece of string. Somebody cuts that string, and as the ball hits your belly, I want you to think of going oof around the ball. So you're imprinting your lower and your mid back, you're peeling up into a chest lift, you're pressing into the mat, and you're adding a double leg lift, and you're holding that contraction. Remember this soft banana-like frame. Put it in your memory banks. Release back down, bend your knees, ground your feet. We're coming into 3 bridge articulations. Start to curl your tailbone in, begin to peel your back line off the mat, float your belly and your hips up towards the sky, take a little stretch through the belly and the tops of the thighs, and then peel back down. We're going to do that 3 times, thinking of really articulating up and down through the spine, one nodule at a time. On your 3rd foray up into the bridge line, you're going to hold it once you've found it, and you're going to look for length through the top of your thighs and through the line of your trunk. Bleed back down. We're going to find that hollow hold again, and we're going to find, or rather add a 100 arm beating pattern to it. Big breath in, think of that falling ball. Oof, you're going to find your chest lift, you're going to add your small leg lift, and then you're going to start to find your rapid fire beat through the arms. If this line is too difficult, you can come either to a tabletop 100 or a grounded 100. Inhale for 5, exhale for 5. Last set. We're coming back into our working bridge line. 3 bridge articulations. You know where you're going to. Peeling up, peeling down. Finding your rhythm, working with your body and your breath. We're going to hold the 3rd one. We're going to give the glutes a good squeeze, and then we're going to release the squeeze, drop the bum halfway to the mat, and squeeze back up. End in the squeeze, hold it for 10. Soften to articulate back down. We're coming back into that hollow hold. Once we've found it, we'll add a scissor kick. Big breath into prep. Ball starts to fall. Think oof. Find your press. Find your lift. Find your double leg lift. And then start to add a scissor. Your scissor could be small or it could be bigger. Then find your way back to your bridge setup. 3 bridge articulations. Peeling your way up and back down through the spine. Keeping your arms and your shoulders nice and heavy. Keeping your chin, your neck, and your jawline relaxed. We're going to hold the last bridge. And we're going to play with the knees. We're going to pretend that we're holding a soft soccer ball between the 2 knees. You're going to give me a small squeeze pulse in and release back. And in the squeeze, hold it. So you're squeezing not just the knees, but you're using the whole inseam of your inner thigh. Then release back to neutral, bleed back down, and find your way back into your hollow hold, sit up. Begin in neutral, see that dropping ball, press into your palms, find your chest lift, so engage your upper abs, add your leg lift, lower abs engaged. We're going to find a small lifting and lowering pattern using both legs together. Maybe you're using a small range of motion. Maybe your abs are feeling strong and you can float those legs all the way up closer towards the 90 line. Last one. Bend your knees, ground your feet, and then find a grounding through one arm. It'll be the side that you're going to roll towards. That will be your grounding arm. So you're going to place that arm out at T, and you're going to float the other arm overhead so that it's looking to the wall behind you. Then you're going to extend the legs into a soft, relaxed, parallel line on the mat. We're coming into a little oblique tap. You're going to think of that ball falling from the sky, hitting your belly. You're going to bleed up into a small chest and leg lift, opposite arm to leg, and you're going to press on your grounding palm. And in the tap, hold it. Then roll onto your grounding side. You can either keep the bottom arm where it is, or you can bring it closer towards your ear line so that you can comfortably lie down on that arm. We're going to stack the body in one long line, and we're going to tuck the top hand behind the head. We're going to come into a little side tuck. So you're going to think top elbow and top knee coming towards one another, and then peeling back down 10 times. And in the tuck, hold it. Then as you start to come back down, you're going to start to bend the bottom leg, and we're going to press up into a mermaid seat. So bottom leg is in front, and we're going to tuck the knee of the back leg in. Make sure that you've got a little bit of a runway, mat runway to play with. We are going to take our hand closest to the lead knee, place it on the floor, and then just roll onto the knees and take your seat back down 3 times, just to find the roll and to find that control through the core. Now let's try to do the same movement, but sans arms to assist you. So you're floating up and you're taking that seat back down. Let's do 2 more, floating the arms. We're going to end in that kneel. We're going to sweep the arms behind us, either just reaching for the wall or finding a loose interlace or fisting the 2 hands together behind you and taking a little stretch here. You can look for a slight curve in the back if you like. Then we're going to rinse and repeat on the second side of the body. So we're going to find our way onto the second side of the body, assuming a low to the mat position on the bottom arm, stacking the body in one long line. We're going to start to find that drag, that kick, and that drop with the top leg. We're going to end in the hovering position, and we're going to find that little tapping motion, almost taking a little hop or a little jump over the grounding leg. Last one. We're going to find our way back to the midline. We're going to use that zippering up motion to pull the knee up and then relax back to hovering. End in the bent position, hinge from the hip. You're going to use your glutes to give me a squeeze behind the hip line and back to neutral. We're going to end in the open line, and you're going to find little pulses. Then roll onto your back. We're going to find our way into our hollow hold play, and we are looking for an active press into the palms. Think of that tethered ball that starts to fall. Oof! You're going to give me a little chest lift. You're going to press into your palms, activate your upper abs, add the lower abs as you lift the legs, so whole core engaged in working hold. Soft press of the palms into the mat, chin relaxed towards the chest. Bend your knees, ground your feet, and find your way into 3 bridge articulations. Peeling up and down with care. Keeping that chin relaxed towards your chest, we're going to hold the last bridge, making sure your glutes, your quads, your hamstrings, your belly muscles are all engaged to support the bridge hold. Feet and knees in parallel. Bleed back down and find your way back into your hollow hold setup. Think of that falling ball. Find your press into the palms as you come into the chest lift. Add the leg lift. Then float the arms and start to find your beating 100 pattern. Inhale for a slow count of 5. Exhale for a slow count of 5. Arms are beating rapidly. Breath is moving slower. Bend your knees, ground your feet, and find your way into 3 rolling bridge heels up and down. We're going to hold the last bridge, and we're going to play with the glutes. One big squeeze at the top, then relax to drop halfway before squeezing back up. End in the squeeze, hold it. Peel back down and find your way back into your hollow hold setup or some scissor kicks. Think of that falling ball. Find your chest lift as you press softly into the palms, add the legs, and then start to find your scissoring motion. It could be small, it could be a little bit bigger. Find your way back to your bridge setup. Begin to peel up and down for 3. Hold the third one. Think of that soft soccer ball between the 2 knees and give me a whole inseam, squeeze into it, and then a release back. So not just the knees, but the inseam of the upper thighs. Knee back down, reconnect to the mat, and one last time, find your way into that hollow hold setup. Think of that falling ball. Start to softly press into the palms as you peel up into the chest lift. Add the legs, and then see if you can give me a small lift and lower both legs together. If that feels like it's not enough work, bring those legs all the way up closer to 90. Then bend your knees, ground your feet. We're going to find our grounding arm on the second side, and remember your grounding arm is the side that you're going to roll towards. We're going to open up that arm into T, and we're going to extend the other arm overhead. Then relax your legs into a parallel line. We're going to peel up into a chest and leg lift, opposite arm and leg coming up and pressing down on the grounding arm. We're going to shoot for roughly 10 repeats. Control as your working arm and leg come back down to the mat. We're going to end in that lift, hold it. Then roll towards your grounding side, either keeping that arm where it is or bringing it closer towards your ear line so that you can find your rest of it. We're going to stack the body in one long line, and we're going to tuck the top hand behind the head. We're going to think small lift, side crunch to find elbow and knee, and then back down to a little lie. We're going to end in the tuck. You're going to bleed your way into a mermaid line from here. Your bottom leg becomes your lead leg. You're going to set up your mermaid line, checking that you've got runway in front of you to roll onto the knees. We're going to use the hand closest to the lead knee to just find our roll first, taking a little stretch into the belly and the groin, and then taking a seat again. Doing that maybe 3 times, and then if all feels good, start to challenge your sense of balance and control by working stance arms. So you're just floating the arms, they're never quite touching the mat. And you're going to shoot for maybe 5 repeats. We're going to end in the lift, hold it. Maybe start to sweep the arms behind you. Maybe find a grasp. From here, we're going to find our way onto the haunches. So we're going to find a little butterfly position. So we're on the haunches, knees nice and wide, heels off the floor, hands relaxed to the tops of our thighs. We're going to bleed up, trying to keep the heels off the floor. And then we're going to bleed back down. And we're going to do that maybe 5 times. Let's do one more. We'll end in a standing position, holding the heels off the floor for 10. Then regrounding, keeping the turnout position, and we're going to do 3 roll downs from this position, looking to add a little tap to the floor, either fingers or palms, and then rolling back up. Keeping the turnout position so that you can feel that wrap around into the inside and the outside of the legs. Last one. Ending in a stand, and I'm going to give you a back view of the body. So you're keeping that turnout position on the legs, and you're going to float the arms behind you, palms looking away from the center line. You're going to pulse palms to ceiling and relax back down, keeping the turnout position. You're going to end in the lift, keep that height, and start to squeeze, pulse the palms in towards the center line. Keep your stand tall, but find a small 12 o'clock tilt through the pelvis. End in the midline squeeze, and then release. Take a big breath in and give me a little angel wing sweep overhead. Bring your 2 palms together, squeeze into them, and actively come down the center line to end in front of your heart. Thank you so much for coming out and playing today. Till next time, keep it light.